Hi, this is Andrew Twidwell, owner of ABT Plumbing, Electric, Heat and Air. Once again with the show You Got This. It's a show of DIY do's and don'ts. And we're here in Auburn, our Auburn office with Mr. Dan Voss here.
Hello.
And I've got Rosalie Brown's actually in town. She's in Auburn as well, but she's not on the air because she's producing this show and on mute because we're having problems with speakers, blah, 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 blah.
Feedback, so much
feedback. But yeah, so she's up here for the holidays. And yeah, I mean, it's that time of year. How are things going with you for getting ready for the holidays?
Oh, just, you know how it goes. Having family over and trying to remember what topics to not bring up.
Right.
What they say, keep religion and politics not at home in this case, but somewhere else.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a great time because we're looking forward to spending some time with family. My dad's still alive, so we're enjoying every minute that we can.
And the kids are going to be in town.
I have my kids coming up from San Diego. We have our other kid. Oh, get this! You'll love this. During this time of season, you go to parties and you have the little gift exchange, the white elephant gift.
Yeah.
Somebody with Campus Life, we got a bunch of younger couples, including my daughter and her husband.
Right.
And one of the boxes gets opened up, and it's baby clothes.
Huh.
And then inside the box, it's written, "Guess who?"
Oh no.
And so we're all like looking around trying to figure out, oh my gosh, do we have a little Campus Lifer coming along?
Right.
And it was a complete gag. Nobody's pregnant. But the funny thing is my wife opens it. It was a gift that she opened. And our daughter's right there. And we're like looking at her and she's going, no. Not me. And then everybody else is going, not me. So we look back to her. No. We thought, oh, what a horrible gag.
That's a good one.
But a good one. But then what a great way to like announce too. I mean, if it were to be anyway, so but yeah, we were like, and then I was almost like, she goes, well, I was almost thinking about, pranking you guys and acting like I was for a while. And I said, I'd have been pissed. And she goes, why? And I said, I'd have been ticked thinking that now I'm finally becoming a grandpa for the first time type thing. And then all of a sudden now I'm not now. And then I'm just going to be upset about it. So I said, I'm glad you didn't go along with it. But, hey, the holiday with family, friends, it's these type of things. Otherwise this whole party had been kind of like, we had a good time, but you'd forgotten it. Right. This is going to be something we'll remember
for years.
Remember when you pranked us? Oh my gosh!
Anyway, just because we've got we're getting together with all the kids that grew up together, and they're all in their mid-20s now. Like my son will be 27 or is 27. And most of the kids from that generation, they're 26, 27. And then the younger ones are 25. And then the really young ones are 20. So that would be a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Just you want to talk about throwing, throwing a grenade in the middle of the room and see people scramble.
Yeah.
Or the funny one is, let's say you throw that grenade in the middle, that particular grenade in the middle of the room, and somebody goes, "How'd you know?" And you're like, "Wait, what?"
One year, one of the families brought in a box of condoms.
Oh.
Wrapped them up, and then that was a good one too because there was one of the kids was he was 18, 19 at that point, so he's like, "Yeah, I'll grab those." He stole them. I could use those. We're like, "You go, man."
Oh man. Anyway, so family, we do a lot with family. Family's great. You make these memories and it's in reality, it's the Christmas season. It's not about the gifts and the getting and all that stuff. It's about in the end, it's getting time and spending time with the family. And that's what really matters. And when you can, helping the people out around you that need help.
Yeah.
So we had fun this year. I got to it was along with the turkey trot. Right. And then helped out with the Toys for Tots.
Yeah, we had a good turnout for the Toys for Tots.
Yeah, I actually they put me in charge of making sure all the bags were lined up in order.
Right.
And in about 3 hours, I did over 10,000 steps, and my back was killing me.
Yeah.
And I got done. I'm laying on the hard ground, going, "Oh, this feels so good." But
it makes you feel good.
The next day it made me feel good. That day it kind of hurt.
We did. One of our plumbers put in a handicap height toilet for a needy family. Yeah, this holiday season. So that was good. That was a good feeling. We got that one through Freed. Just we try to do a little something every year, and that was just our little bit that we could do.
Yeah, I actually brought that up in our staff meeting, or with the meeting with all the
Yeah,
guys, and I
good.
said, "Hey guys, I think Jared was the
Jared
one
was
that
the
did
installed
that
it. Yeah,
did that work." But I said, "Guys, this is because of all of you that allows us to be able to
yeah,
do this. So you guys
yeah,
ought to feel proud that Jared was able to go out, but that it's because of all their hard work and."
yeah,
And we got a bunch of great guys here at ABT Plumbing,
yeah,
Electric Heat and Air, and I'm proud of them all. And they're hard workers. They're good, honest people,
yeah,
and we just want to do the best work we can for the people around us. So,
yeah.
um, anyway, so I'm very proud of them, and I'm hoping
Ditto.
they all have a great,
For
great
shame. Yeah, yeah.
Christmas.
Oh, and by the way, we will be closed on Christmas Day, so if you need emergency service, don't call ABT.
That's a one-time he'll say that.
Yeah, that's
but we are open the next day, so
all our families. It's family day for everybody, so we want to make sure that we don't have anybody that doesn't get to enjoy that time. So
yeah.
So hopefully there'll be no floods. Hopefully there'll be no freezings on that day. So far it looks good, so we shouldn't have any issues. But anyway, that's not why you guys call us, or listen to this show. You listen to this show for DIY helps, do's and don'ts. And we thought we'd kind of go over. I know we've done this before, especially most recently with Thanksgiving, but we thought we'd kind of go over some of the things to avoid when you have or things to look for when you have a house full of guests, because you do put an extra stress on all the systems in your house when it's gone from 2 to 4 people to 8 to 20 people in your house, depending on how big of a get together you have. So there are some things that you can do to avoid issues. There's some things you can do to just keep an eye on, and there's some ways that you can fix things while you do have a problem. So let's kind of, I'll start one really quick. You're bound to have a clogged toilet. That is one of those things that just pretty much happens, especially when you've got a bunch of people in the house that may not be used to the fixtures in your home, and so who if you've got a fixture in your house
it's Aunt Betty every time.
Yeah.
No.
That's my wife's name.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
She's not. Well, she is an aunt. In any event, so there are those situations where if you do have a fixture in your house, a bathroom in your house that does have a problem, let everybody know about it beforehand so that you can avoid those kind of uncomfortable situations with your family member. Because for some people that's a big deal, right? For some people it's very embarrassing. For me, it's like whatever. It's just another day in the life of a plumber, right? But if you can at least give them a heads up to make sure not to flush too much down the toilet.
Or if you have more than one toilet, just say, hey, don't use that bathroom or whatever else. But yeah,
use that one for number one and use that one for number two, kind of thing. Get it out in the open. It's better to do that and be a little embarrassed than have ultimate embarrassment of having a floating log inside the bathroom,
or a whole system that's backed
up. A whole system that's backed up. So, but there are some ways that you can mitigate if the toilet does clog. One thing is to make sure, if you do have people over, but also just in general, make sure you have a really good plunger. And I mean really good plunger, not the little ones that you can get at the dollar store. Actually, I don't even know if you can get them at the dollar store anymore. But $2 or whatever. Buy a $10, $15, even a $20 plunger. Buy one that has got a really good, nice rubber force cup with the what would you call that? It's got like a tapered part that looks kind of like the end of a trumpet.
I got one of those for my father-in-law last year.
You got it from your father-in-law?
No, for him.
Yeah.
But what I did with it is, because we go camping a lot.
Yeah.
So what I did is I took the stick end,
right,
and I sharpened it so it had a point.
Right.
And I turned it upside down, and you stick it into the ground, you pull that thing up, and you put ice in it, and you put your drink in there, and it holds the drink. And he thought it was the coolest thing since sliced bread. So here's the thing: you can get a plunger and a possible gift.
A travel mug holder.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway,
he thought that was hilarious. You want to make sure you haven't used said plunger before.
You put drink in. Yeah, that'd probably be a bad. That's probably. I probably should have told him that one was used before he used it.
and
maybe hopefully he doesn't listen to the show.
If you're like Rosalie, you want to make sure you have 2 plungers because you want to have one for the sink and one for the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
So I just use one, but that's just me because whatever. Just run some hot water and put some
soap
on it.
Yeah,
soap it. It's going to be clean. But anyway, so get a really good plunger because that'll make a really big difference. And when you're using said plunger, remember that when you're trying to clear a clog with a plunger, most people don't realize that a lot of the work of a plunger isn't so much just to force it down, but also to pull up. So as you pull up, you want to pull up kind of hard, but not too hard because you'll make a splash. The other thing you might want to do is close the lid so it kind of holds the liquids in a little bit, and maybe put some towels around there because you're getting a little bit of splash. But really push down and pull up, push down, pull up, push down, pull up, and that will pretty much it'll clear. I don't know, 90% of the clogs, unless something that
is down there that shouldn't be.
That shouldn't be there, like a candle or something big. It's usually something large that got flushed down there accidentally. That gets
Teenage
lodged.
Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, Hot Wheel. I found all sorts of things down there. Yeah,
I found a toothbrush once.
Toothbrush.
I asked them if they wanted it back. They said no.
They're good. They're good. So that's usually, if it's a soft blockage, you can usually break it free with a toilet or a plunger, and it usually. So if you kind of picture this inside the toilet. The pipe inside the toilet, it's gotten really small because of low flow. It's only about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches in diameter. So it's a really tiny pipe, but once it leaves the toilet, it's into a minimum of 3 inch, if not 4 inch pipe. So 9 times out of 10, it's happening right inside the toilet, which is only, if you kind of see it, through the P trap and down, you're probably only talking about a distance of 18 inches. It normally just happens right in there. What are some other things you can do to avoid or take care of?
Well, when it comes to things like that, a lot of times when you have people that aren't normally there, and let's say you have cast iron piping, it's always good to let people know that aren't used to your plumbing to make sure that only human waste and toilet paper goes down the toilet.
And that's true for across the board, guys. I mean, like, unless you want to see us, unless you want to pay a plumber to come out and clear it, because that is one of those things. It's not a soft blockage. Those handy wipes will catch up onto the pipe. All it takes is a little flake peeling off of the rust, a rusty flake to peel off, and it'll hold on to one of those
wipes,
wet wipes, and then it'll start to accumulate more and more and more. And those things, you don't want to just put anything down the toilet that doesn't dissolve in water, and that includes paper towels, Kleenexes, and especially wet wipes.
Oh, the other thing I've seen people throw down is dental floss and Q-tips. Throw those things away.
Put them in the garbage.
Yeah.
Your toilet is not a garbage.
The other thing is understand whether or not your system actually has a sewage ejection pump.
Oh my gosh.
So if it has a sewage ejection pump, again, that's really important that nothing other than those human waste and toilet paper goes down. I don't care if it says on the box flushable, do not flush it. If it's not one of those things, human waste or toilet paper, it doesn't go down.
And a sewage ejection pump, just for some of you people out there that may not know what it is, it's like, so one of our mottos as a plumber is poop goes downhill, paydays on Friday, and don't bite your nails. That's kind of our, if you know those three things, you're pretty good, right? But how do you get poop or sewage to go uphill? You do it with a pump, right? So if you've got a lot of houses in Lake Wildwood, if they're below the sewer,
Lake of the Pines,
we have to lift the sewage up to the street level for it to dump. So, or if you've got a 2-story house and the first floor is the one that has the sewer on it, and then you go to remodel and you put a bathroom downstairs, we'll have to put a lift station in or a sewage ejector pump. And what happens with those sewage ejector pumps or lift stations is there's a pump in there with a little spinny thing that has little fins on it. And if wet wipe, paper towel,
feminine products
doesn't take much, because that volute, that hole that's inside of there, is only about 2.5 inches in diameter. So if that gets blocked, oh my goodness, nothing is going to work. So now all of a sudden, and if you don't have an alarm on it, the worst thing that's going to happen is now that if you don't have an alarm on it, you won't even know that it's not working. And next thing you know, poop and sewage is coming out of the pump and floods the basement. And we've gone and literally seen ponds 4 feet or 4 inches to a foot, 2 feet deep underneath people's homes. They didn't realize they had a sewage ejector system, and they didn't have an alarm on it, which an alarm is a high water thing. If the water level reaches a certain point because the pump's not working or the power is out or something, this alarm will go off and let you know that the pump's not working and stop using all the
There's
plumbing.
A problem.
Yeah. So I always recommend, and whenever I did work on a sewage ejection system, I was like, you need an alarm. It's worth it.
Yeah. Some of the other things that, is good to do. And some of it might be, we might be running a little late, but we still have a little bit of time before Christmas.
Oh, yeah. I think you're talking about the show.
Yeah, no, a little bit time before
Yeah.
Christmas, but if you haven't had your septic tank pumped in a while, things like that, it ought to be checked every 3 to 5 years. Um, that doesn't necessarily mean pump, but it needs to be checked.
Yeah.
Usually, any system that's been 10 years or more, usually it's probably time to pump it anyway.
Yeah.
But that's something to think about when you have a bunch of company over, or next time before, we are getting a little tight between now and Christmas. But
yeah, I don't think you need anybody out right now. And
Yeah.
this is not something that we do, but we recommend. There are plenty of companies up here that do a great job on pumping tanks. And think of it like, I had an uncle, and I've talked about this, but I haven't talked about it for a long time. I had an uncle that was trained as a dentist. He was a stationary engineer for the city of San Francisco in the wastewater treatment plant. But he was also an incredible mechanic. But he realized that as long as he changed the filter on his car, he didn't need to change the oil as often. So he would go, 50,000 miles before changing the oil in his car. You just keep topping it off. But that's not something you want to do,
No.
right? And it's kind of similar with a septic system or sewage or the septic system.
Yeah.
With a septic system, it's a maintenance thing. You don't necessarily need to do it, but what you're doing is you're making sure that large particulates and effluent don't make it into your leach line. Once the tank gets full and that stuff gets into the leach line and clogs your leach line, now all of a sudden you're talking about a catastrophic failure. Now you're talking about having to replace a leach system. And if you're in some of these houses that have half an acre or something, you may not have the land to be able to do a conventional leach system anymore.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're talking about
engineered systems.
What are engineered systems now going for?
They can
60, 100?
Yeah, they can range anywhere from 30 to and up, depending on the situation.
It's not uncommon for them to be $100,000. So you want to maintain that tank. You want to maintain that system.
Take care of what you got.
Yeah.
And if you have a question about your system and anything else, feel free to give us a call here at ABT Plumbing.
530-230-9092. You can talk to Dan. He's well versed in this. He's the head of our drain cleaning division. I just, I say this, I wanted to say this one last thing though, with the sewage systems. When I started this business 20 years ago, and you've been up here for that long, things were a little less, they were, doing a perk and mantle was a little easier than it is today.
Yes.
By like a 10 times easier.
More, yeah.
So things that were okay 10 years, 20 years ago, they're not okay anymore. So you really want to take care of your systems.
They've become a lot more stringent on the type of systems necessary.
So, you've got a system that's working, take care of that system, because even though you may have 10 acres, 20 acres out there that you could do another system,
it's still not cheap.
It still may not work because our regulations have gotten a lot tighter. So you may still end up with an engineered system and spending a lot of money.
Right.
And they are not cheap. And not only are they not cheap to install, but they're way more expensive to maintain than a regular system. What's it cost to pump a tank these days, roughly?
About $750 to $950, right around there.
And for maintenance on an engineered system, you could spend that in one service call. And you're talking about a couple times a year.
About once a year, every 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking a huge difference.
But then, like anything, the more parts you have in it, the more moving parts, the more things you have to fail.
Problems. Yeah.
And those systems have a lot more moving parts.
Yeah.
Something else I was thinking about when it comes to having a bunch of people over is water heater usage.
Yeah.
I've had people go. I have a lot of people coming over, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the water heater so that way they have more hot water. Or I've had some people think that if I turn up that dial on the gas heater, it heats the water faster.
Right.
And I tell them, no, it doesn't heat the water faster, but it does make the water hotter in the long run. So it just keeps the burner on longer. But the problem with that is it causes the tank to expand and contract more, which can cause premature failure, and as well as scalding people in the house and everything else. So
that's what I want to point out is the scalding, because now all of a sudden you've got water that can burn you within a couple minutes.
Right.
And if you've
seconds,
and if you've got, any kids or elderly people, they don't react as quick as younger people. So they could be in the hot water and be scalded before they even realize it. And it's amazing how many people die from scalding every year. Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, ironically, were the ones that actually got help push for the legislations for thermostatic valves and pressure regulating shower valves. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But
So-
you don't want to.
So don't do that. That's kind of a
Stagger your-
solve your problem ahead of time. Don't create more.
Just-
and I'm trying to help you not create more.
Just stagger your shower times. Give half an hour between showers when you've got people over. Or what's even better is put a low flow shower head in. A lot of low flow shower heads these days you don't even realize you're in a lower flow. You can put a 2.5, even 1.5 gallon per minute shower head in, and if you've got one of those little Speakman heads that are pumping out 5 gallons, 10 gallons per minute, you can lengthen the amount of time that you can spend in the shower because it's easy equation. If you've got a 50-gallon water heater, you really only have 30 gallons of usable hot water in there, and if you can do a 20-minute or 10-minute shower with the current shower head that you've got. If you put a shower head that uses half the amount of water, now all of a sudden you can do
twice. Well,
twice
longer
as
than
long.
twice.
Yeah,
because then you actually give it
You
more
have more
time
time
to
to
heat.
recover. Yeah.
So, those shower heads, and that's something that can be done, fairly quickly.
And that's a good DIY thing. You can buy a shower head at any of the hardware stores, B&C, A to Z, Hills Flat, or even some of the supply houses,
Depot,
Sierra Plumbing, any of those places. You can get a low flow shower head that actually works really well. And I do that to all my house. Every home I've ever had, I replace them with low flow shower heads.
Yeah, I did that to my house too.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. You save energy and you can take a longer shower. Or you're not saving energy if you're taking a longer shower, but you don't have to worry about it as much. Yeah.
Of course, I like the longer shower, so that's why I did it.
Yeah. I'm in and out, man. 2 minutes. So hopefully those are some things that you can do to kind of help you through the holiday season. If you do have a water heater that you're a little concerned about, by the time this thing airs, it's Friday. It's kind of too late to make an appointment, but we can come out next week. We'll be working Tuesday through Friday, and you can sign up for one of our water heater flushes. We'll do a thorough water heater flush and plumbing inspection, so we'll make sure all the plumbing is working. And that's only $49. You can also call us out for a heating and air system tune-up. That's only $49. We'll come out and make sure the heating and air. We didn't even get into that. That's a whole other thing because you get more people. You get more people in the house. You usually turn the temperature down. You get more bodies. It's hotter, but you don't use the heating in as much. Electrical. We also do electrical inspection. $49. That you will be using more this time of year because you're going to be more lights on, more power usage in the house, and you want to make sure everything's working. $49 to come out and make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to be working. Do a thorough visual inspection of everything. Go around with gauges and meters and make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to be working. And then your thing, once you kind of...
Yeah, we have a $97 drain service for those that are residential with clean out. You got a stoppage, we're happy to come out. We'll get it cleaned for $97. And if we're not able to get that thing opened up for you, we're not going to charge you.
We don't charge you anything.
That's a good deal.
It's crazy.
But what we will do is if you do have issues or whatever else, we're happy to come out and actually run a camera, figure out what's going on. And if there is a repair needed, we give you those options to be able to so you know what's going on with your system. And it's your choice on what you want us to do. So we're happy to do that.
Yeah. And again, you can reach us at 530-230-9092, 530-230-9092. You can also find us on the web at abtplumbing.com. Like us on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. We're on all the socials. Like us on all those. We'd really appreciate it. And once again, thanks for listening. And I hope everybody has a happy holiday, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year. Bye-bye.